Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another Final Fantasy Wave Access video unit review. So before we begin, let's talk about Esther. They buffed her quite a bit in her LB. Now she's a lot stronger, but they didn't make it so she's only strong in Clash of Wills like I was kind of fearing on the side. I was like, oh my god, what if they make her just good there because she was good everywhere else? Nope, she's still good outside, and she's very good inside Clash of Wills. She has a 375 times mod at 100% morale or more, I believe, but it's still 200 times regardless, so very good still. And she gets some help with Sylvie, so every turn she's alive, she gets 100 times mod buff for her LB. Just crazy. It's just like imagine the best tasting food and then somehow making it even better, and then making her vision card really good now too. So yeah, I'm gonna crank up her score from 8.5 when I reviewed her in the past, because her vision card was very bad in terms of other cards at the time. I'm cranking her up to 9 out of 10, guys. I think she's very good now. The reason why she's not getting like a 9.5 is because, well, she's just really strong, but it's not like her LB, her brave shift. Remember, guys, she has a brave shift form. And the reason why she's not getting a higher score is because they didn't really fix her brave shift form. The LB costs are still ridiculous. It's still hard to manage her on the first turn. So you can stomp your feet in the comment section if you'd like to think that she gets a higher score. I still think 9 out of 10 is very high, more than what I usually give. So we have Wylk here. Infinite turns. Both units we'll be talking about today have infinite turns, and I believe global units always have infinite turns pretty much, so that's good. Both sides, he has 100% all killers, and then another additional 100% for demon, human, dragon, and insect, and those are things that he focuses on, which is good. 500% capture, 300% TDH, 200% LB damage. He has a 100% human and dragon killer with an axe equipped, 100% demon and insect killer with a fist equipped, so he gets an additional 100% killers with those things in mind. So you'd have 300% depending on what you have equipped. His base form, he has earth, wind, and earth imbues plus 6% amps, but they're on cooldowns, separate cooldowns, of course. That'd be kind of weird if they were both the same. 200% killer buffs. Very nice. He has Stardust Ray, AoE, and Bolting Strike chaining, morale chaining. And his Ray Shift form, he has 27 and also 26, 1. So the last hit on that one is going to be a backloaded hit. 27 hit, basically 27 hit chaining, basically similar to Laura. How you have to use the reverse crystals to chain with. 35% axe in peril, and also fist in peril. 90% defense break, just like Laura has. 250% demon and the insect killer, and also human and dragon killer buff. And those are dependent on what you have equipped, the axe or the fist, by the way. The LB in his brave shift form is extreme Nova frames. Very good. I love how they're buffing these up now. I love how extreme Nova frames is coming back. 300% LB damage, 50 times versus dragons, so it's a little bit stronger with versus dragons. 150 times, 2 times, and then it becomes 300 times max. Extreme Nova frames, and there's a black loaded hit at the end there, which is very nice. So very good brave shift LB. Now let's talk about some cons here. His LB mod boost in his race form only lasts for 2 turns, so now you have to figure out a way of doing that, and I already figured out a way, I believe, of getting it done. It's a long process, but it's worth it in the end, I believe. And heavy LB crystal use in his brave shift form. Sorry about that. Brave shift form, just like Laura has, basically. And also only 25% axe and fist and peril in the base form, so just kind of a And in the base form is really just you would only really use it for the killers, because I mean, honestly, I don't know if you would even use it, because he has killers already in his kit, and like, what's with the 27 hits? This doesn't really do anything. So Honestly, I would rather just use the LB crystals on his Brave Shift form and getting his Brave Shift form LB much stronger. Because there's quite a stringent rotation on his Brave Shift LB that I've figured out. And I know it's surprising. I'm actually using the optimal rotation page because I think this is very important to do. So I think it's important to stack up his Brave Shift LB as much as possible. He's going to need some LB support with that. And then you'll shift back to the base form very quickly. Use that in the more memories of Ancestral Dragon and his base form. And last for 2 turns, you gotta shift back over quickly with some LB support, hopefully Ling or someone else who can fill the LB very quickly, and use that LB again, Brave Shift LB again, to do a lot of damage. And that's gonna take a lot of team coordination, LB support, and also your other Ian Frame user has to be ready as well. So this takes up quite a bit of rotations, quite a bit of team coordination. It's not gonna be autopilot. He's definitely not an autopilot DPS where you can just say, oh, you know, I got my LB ready, let's just go. It takes a lot of planning. You're gonna have to plan several turns ahead for this guy. So if you don't like doing something like that, this guy may not be for you. But if you like someone who's a little more in depth, sorry about that, because there's been a lot of DPS lately who has not been a lot of in depth. You just charge up their LB, get them imbued, chain. This guy is plan ahead, get killer buffs, plan ahead, you know, stuff like that. So if you like something like that, and I know some people may like that, they don't really like the units that are, you know, brain dead, use LB every turn basically unit. This guy is a lot more in depth on what you need to do. So there's that. His vision card is very good for him, of course. Of course, it's a premium card, it has to be good in some way, except for, I mean, they fixed Esther, so I can't complain about Esther's anymore. So he's very good. Just a few cons there. And the axe and fist thing isn't as big of a deal in terms of some things that he has. It's not a grandiose thing. It's just some are better. I mean, sometimes an axe might be better. Sometimes the fist might be better. It depends. The problem also is if you are relying on those imperils and then you have to force your whole team around the axe and fist thing, and that's also kind of a thing as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him a 9 out of 10. You can stomp your feet if you like in the comment section down below if I didn't give him a higher score, but I think a 9 out of 10 is fair. He does require a lot of planning. He does require basically a moderate team based around him, pretty much. Even though he's not actually a finisher, he kind of technically can be. If you are chaining Eon frames, he can technically cap the chain because of that one hit at the end there with that. It's called a backloaded hit. And I know this isn't a term used very often anymore because it hasn't really been a thing since the 7-star era. I mean, there has been backloaded hits before, but this is you're basically self-capping with another Eon frame chainer, pretty much, in essence. So I think a 9 out of 10 is pretty good. Oh boy. Alright, let's talk about Sylvie. This is going to take a while. She has infinite turns as well, both sides. She has 30% defense and spirit, true shield or TDH, whatever you want to call it. Most likely true shield wield, since that looks like that S-teamer over there is only one-handed. So that's going to impact her damage a little bit. So she has earth and also lightning imbues, but they're on cooldowns. I guess I should have mentioned that, but I do mention it later. In the base form, she has so many things in her base form, it's kind of hard to, like, I would run out of room. So I really try to bullet point a lot of these things. HP barriers, healing, MP restores. She also has all the stuff that usually a lot of units have in Clash of Wills, like Maeve and Louise with the break resist, the element, the status resistance and stuff like that. 100% earth and lightning resist on separate abilities, but they also have 80% for other resistances, which are still very high, by the way. 80% is still very high. 200% is like overkill. I know there's some bosses out there that imperil quite heavily, but that's insane. 5-stack Mirage, very good. She also has 75% physical and magical mitigations, very good. She also has 85% general mitigation, but only once, technically thrice, because she casts it once every turn for 3 turns. She gives magic imbued bolting strike chaining to allies, and her LB, there it is. All 100% all elements resist. It's not broken anymore. It's not as broken as it used to be. It's still good. HP barriers, 350% stat buff, 250% LB damage buff. In the Brave Shift form, she has 250% demon and stone killers for 1 ally on a cooldown, and also 150% of those killers to everybody else, which is still good. And here's the lightning and earth amps, but if you were expecting them to be available on turn 1, nope. So there's going to be 2 units coming out that are going to have similar to this, but it's only for 1 ally. The Nicole and Sakura. Obviously Sakura is not going to be as good now because Sylvie exists, that she can give it to Sylvie can give it to everybody instead of just 1 person. But Nicole is still good for the water because she does not have water amp for, even though it's only 1 ally, it's still good. And let's talk about some cons here, and I think I really tried to find some, because you got to find some for someone. No unit doesn't have a con, right? No unit is perfect, really. So no bolting strike chaining in a Brave Shift form. There is a weird 9 and then a hit and then a hit after that, I believe, or it's a 1 hit and then a 9 hit, or an 8 hit. It's a 1 8 1 hit. That's still not bolting strike. So she has no bolting strike in her Brave Shift form at all. That's gonna affect her quite a bit. She sucked at Stardust Ray and AoE chaining in her Brave Shift form, and her chain giving excludes herself. I think that's kind of annoying. Bolting strike is so much more useful, more used than Stardust Ray and AoE. I know it's kind of making a comeback a little bit, but it's like, why would you give her bolting strike chaining? Maybe I missed it, but I looked very closely with basically with a magnifying glass, and I didn't see it. And her imbues are on cooldowns now instead of normal abilities like in her 5-star form. So the reason why I mentioned that, and you might be saying, oh, it lasts for 5 turns and the cooldown is 5 turns. Yeah, fine, that is fine. But what if you're facing a boss in Clash of Wills, for example, that dispels? Now you're screwed out of an imbue. So I don't like that too much. That's one of the things I don't like. Her vision card is very good for herself, of course, and it's more easily accessible than Wylk's. So I'm gonna give. I was already pretty much set on a 9.5 for her. I forgot to talk about the Brave Shift LB, which blew my mind a little bit there. It's very similar to Warrior of Light's Brave Shift form, where he has that cooldown for a mod buff for people, and it was hard to write. There was so much to write down, I couldn't write it all down. So her Brave Shift LB, 400% stab buff, 250% LB damage. So still not as good as Aerith, I think, but it's still good. I can't remember how much Aerith's is, or I think it might be 300. I'm not sure. I can't remember already. So 20 times LB mod, 60 times if you have 100% morale more, and a certain damage. And the lower one, 30 times with 100% morale. Certain damages, and one of them is included with morale-based damage, so that's quite good. That's a very good LB there. So that's also another reason why she's getting a 9.5. The reason why she's not getting a 10 out of 10, I really don't like that she doesn't have bolting strike in her Brave Shift form. Maybe she does. I didn't see it, and I know that she does not give herself chaining. Sadly, it says excluding caster. So, and I also really don't like that her imbues are on cooldown. So, like I said, if you get dispelled, you're screwed, unless you have someone else who can imbue, earth or lightning. Because I really don't like that you can basically be ruined by a dispel from a boss. So you're gonna have to either plan ahead. You can't even plan ahead because you need to deal damage at some point. You can't stall for several turns against Clash of Wills, for example, a lot of the time, because sometimes you need to deal certain elements, and so this is gonna be annoying. So she is getting. If you were expecting me to give her a 10 out of 10, that's fair. She is very, very good, but I don't like some of these things that she has as well, and I gotta be fair and down the middle. So if you want to crucify me in the comment section down below, I expect it. I expect you guys to do so. You can go right ahead and do that. And let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about these units. I think this is a very good time to pull. Both of these units are very good. But I'm going to be pulling for Sylvie, for sure. So expect that on the channel soon. If you are not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the button on the video if you like the video. And I'll see you in the comment section down below. Don't disappoint me. See you in the next video. Peace.